Good morning, Napa Valley, and way beyond for all surrounding areas. What a beautiful day today is. Sunny here. I know it may not be so sunny elsewhere in the country, but we send blessings out to everybody. I'm Reverend Jay Lang, and a welcome to you, whether this be your first time or your 50th time by now, virtually at least. We welcome you today. And we have a treat for our music. David Washington coming to us from North Carolina. So I'm going to turn it over to him for our opening song.
Thank you, Reverend Jay. It's so good to be here again. And very happy to be here with you this morning. Here's a favorite of mine called Everything I Need to Know by Linda Webb Kakaba. Everything I need to know about what lies before me. Everything I need to know about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything I need to do about what lies before me. Everything I need to do about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything I need to be at peace about what lies before me. Everything I need to be at peace about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything I need to know about what lies before me. Everything I need to know about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me, through the mind of God within me, through the mind of God.
Beautiful, David. Thank you so much. Within the mind of God. Morning. We bless you right where you are today, right in your living room or wherever you might be. Some people are venturing outside to watch our services on their devices, and a glorious day it is today that you can do that. But we'd like to just bless you today by raising our hands, and you can do the same to bless all people on this streaming service. We simply say, we bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community, and so it is. We also like to repeat our vision and mission as a way of affirmation, knowing that it is already coming forth, it has been, and will continue to be coming forth. So our vision is we are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission statement, we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. We know it is so, and so it is. Before we begin the regular part of our service, I just want to give you a few announcements. The first of all is we've been having a Zoom meeting after this service, and it's a time to check in and to see how everybody's doing. We're going to continue doing that, but we're also going to add each week a question about my talk, about the service, to kind of bring out a deeper conscious conversation. Today's question is going to be, how can we emerge stronger, brighter, and wiser? Kind of, you'll hear more about that in my talk, but how can we do that? How can you do that? How can we do that? So that'll be the conversation on Zoom today. I hope you can join us for that. Anybody's welcome, no matter where you are, even if you've ever been on there before. Come join us for that conversation. And also, starting March 4th, I'll be teaching a new class called Practical Mysticism. Now, this will be a hybrid course. We'll do it virtually until we can have the space or the guidelines to be able to have it in person. So that's why it's hybrid. And even when we go in person, you can have the option of staying online if that makes you feel more comfortable. But the material for the class is just amazing. It's talking about mysticism and how we can have practical approaches to mysticism in our life, the inner castle, the inner being that we have and are, that we can open up to the world in greater ways. And going to talk about Saint Teresa of Avila, as well as other mystics and their work and how to apply it. And you can register on Breeze. It's on our website to register. There's a variety of prices, including full scholarships. If you need a full scholarship, then write me an email, and I'm very open to that idea. But there are also 3 levels of payment. You pay at the level of your comfort. And another exciting thing that's happening on March 7th, so that's a Sunday, we're starting, actually, Melda Gomez, our practitioner, is starting a new Spanish-speaking service. So it'll happen after our regular service at 12:30, and she's going to be able to provide these services for people who Spanish is their first language, and or anybody else that speaks Spanish, but really it'll be a celebration of the different cultures here, and a way to reach out to people who like to hear the spiritual teaching in their native language. Even if they're bilingual, I think it's something special that you hear it in your home language. The other thing is April, there will be a Sister Spirit virtual retreat. And this is, right now, there's a flyer out for it, and registration has started. I think it's a real amazing thing for women, that usually this is a fairly expensive retreat because of lodging and travel and things like this. But this year, it's available virtually. So it's more economical, and it still has that same divine feminine wisdom and power and inspiration that's provided. There's fun and crafts, and here's a video by Michelle Lang about the retreat.
Hey everyone, be sure and save the dates for our Sister Spirit online women's retreat, April 8th through 11th. We have all kinds of fun activities planned. We're going to have live music by Ricky Byers. It's time for women to connect with other women virtually. We're going to do some spiritual growth exercises. We're going to have drumming, crafts, that live music I mentioned. Save that date, April 8th through 11th.
So it's fun to hear Michelle talk about that, and also you might have noticed her hair is a lot shorter, so it's hard to keep up with people in this time of distancing socially. So I really encourage women to sign up for that, because like I said, it's a great opportunity. Ricky Byers and Amy Steinberg, a lot of really amazing, Faith Rivera, great music with it too. And then also we're beginning to plan in-person services. Right now we're geared towards May. Now we're going to still follow state, county, and local guidelines. We're not going to do anything ahead of time, but we just have this vision of being able to do it outdoors, where we can be at plenty of distance and feel the fresh air, and be able to have a stage up there with music and message just like usual, and continue to stream for those who would prefer to stay home and watch it there. So we do need help with this, to set up the stage and to set up and to clean up the courtyard and things like that. So there's a form on Breeze about registering for this. You can look under volunteering on the website and find that form. We've had a couple of people already sign up. We would really appreciate you being a part of that. Also, I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but I I couldn't figure out the technology to do it, but this week I did figure it out. I'm going to have virtual office hours on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and I'll send the link out early this week about how you can schedule time for half-hour appointments, because I would love to catch up with you that way and enjoy the time to see how you're doing and offer prayer if so desired. So that'll be, and then we'll still have the weekly meditation, the Course in Miracles, and the Body, Mind, and Spirit Recovery Group. And with that, we'll start the sacred part of our service.
Oops. My hit was cut off. Good morning, everyone. I hear it's quite nice there in Napa. We haven't seen much sun here in Montana. It's a little cold and snowy.
The Spirit of love goes before me to make my way clear. The Spirit of love that I am goes before me to bless my world. And the road rises to meet me as I stand in this holy place. The abundance of life turns to greet me. I feel love's grace. The Spirit of love goes before me and makes my way clear. The Spirit of love goes before me to make my way clear. The Spirit of love that I am goes before me to bless my world. And the road rises to meet me in the motion of every breath. The assurance of life rises through me. I find my rest. The Spirit of love goes before me and makes my way clear. The Spirit of love goes before me to make my way clear. The Spirit of love that I am goes before me to bless my world. The Spirit of love goes before me and makes my way clear.
Good morning. I hear it's a beautiful day there in Napa. I'm jealous. It's a little bit chilly over here. We're kind of done with our cold spell of minus 30 degrees, and now we're 30 degrees above of zero, so it's a little warmer here. But I'm missing that sunshine in Napa. But anyway, I'm so happy to be here and happy that all you guys are here as well. And let's just move into a time of prayer. And so if you feel willing, just close your eyes or have them a soft gaze. And just take a moment to pull that energy back into your center, all the energy that you used up this morning to get ready for this church service, to get ready for Zoom and all the different things you did this morning as you got up. And just pull that energy back into your center. Just knowing that that's where God resides, is within the center of your being. So as we pull back in, we connect with Divine Spirit. And we know that Divine Spirit is here with us today, surrounding us and supporting us, supporting this sacred time together, this community, supporting this music, this beautiful music from David. And this message from Reverend Jay today, knowing that we are open and receptive to receiving whatever it is we need to hear today, whatever will guide us in our healing, whatever will guide us in our staying connected to God. We just know that Divine Spirit is always present here with us and supporting us and guiding us. So we'll just take a moment to be in silence, to be with that connection with Divine Spirit. I'm just coming back from that space of meditation. I could have just stayed there all day. Felt so good to be in that place of silence and meditation and connection with Spirit, because I could feel that connection with all the rest of you, knowing that we were all connected with God. So being in that place of connectedness with God helps us to stay connected to other people, helps us stay connected to ourselves, helps us stay connected to the world around us, especially in this time of pandemic where we're not being very social and actually not being able to physically be connected to others. And it reminded me of a story that I heard during one of our classes at CSL, about how it's really easy to stay connected with our family and friends and feel at one with those people because we love them when we know them and we're in connection with them on a very somewhat daily basis. So it's really, and with people that are like-minded, it's very easy to stay connected with those people, but it's much harder to stay connected with people that have a different opinion about things, or if someone runs you in front of you while you're driving down the road and there's that road rage, that some of us can get, or when we start to feel judgmental about other people. And that the story goes that this man and his children got on the train, I think a commuter train, and they were young children, and he got on the train and he sat down, and then the children are just kind of running amok on the train, and he's doing nothing about it, and he's just sitting there, and you could tell that people were beginning to get disgruntled about these children running around, just wildly running around. And you could see the displeasure on their faces, and you can just imagine what they were thinking. And I'm sure even some of us are thinking the same thing, in judgment of this man and his letting his children run wild, like, what kind of father is he, and why are these children running around, and where's the discipline, and all kinds of different sort of ideas. But someone chose to sit down next to him, and whether it's because they noticed his body language or his demeanor, but they chose to start up a conversation with him. And come to find out that he had just come from the hospital where his wife had died. And his children didn't know this yet. And they were young children. And here he is sitting here in just complete shock and bereavement, and not knowing, this enormity of the situation, the enormity and overwhelmingness of the emotions, and what he needed. He's going to have to go through this grief on his own, but also the grief of his children and having to tell them this. So you can see where if you didn't connect with this man, all you were, maybe not you, but a lot of people often pass judgment that why isn't he doing this and this, but there's a story behind it, and everybody has a story, and there's always something going on with someone. And when we don't connect with people as a fellow human being, that causes disconnect. And so if we can take a moment to imagine what that other person might be going through, and imagine when you feel rude, when you've been rude or felt irritable or cranky or impatient, what is going on with you that caused you to be that way? And so that person, other person that's being rude or cut you off in traffic, what might they be going through? And see if there's a way to connect back with that person. And I know I struggle with that deeply, with being judgmental sometimes, and not sometimes, a lot of times. And it's a challenge to remember that perfect strangers out there in the world, how to connect with them. And so I hope that with this message with Reverend Jay today, that by staying more connected with, for me, staying more connected with God helps me to stay more connected with myself and with others, and be more compassionate, so that I can remain as a one mind and have many connections with others. So thank you for listening, and bless you.
Thank you, LuAnn. Here's one of my favorite songs called Turning from Fear into Love. There's a new page in my story about my future victory. I've got to believe that I can get there through this window of opportunity. I've seen what fear can do to me. Sometimes I freeze or act foolishly, and I can't move forward. Somehow I've overcome my history, and every setback is a golden key to open freedom's door and see what life has in store. Turning my fear into love, my world looks different now, into love. There's a new page in our story, and we write it consciously, about our human evolution. What will it be? Push back on the fear. Is there really danger here? I will survive. Let's overcome our history. Let every setback be a golden key to wake up to more and more and more and more and more. Turning the fear into love and make a better world. Turning the fear into love. Ooh, yeah. Turning the fear into love and make a better world. Turning the fear into love. Turning the fear into love and make a better world. Turning the fear into love. Ooh, yeah. Turning the fear into love and make a better world. Turning the fear into love.
Thank you so much, David. Such a great song to turn fear into love. I wanted to get the chance to, this month, as part of Black History Month, and also an intention for us throughout the year to bring more voices of people of color into the room, to let your wisdom be heard. And so I know you live in the South, a different experience than we have here. You've been there, I assume, most of your life. I'm just wondering if you could share some wisdom from your experience about how we can create a beloved community, a community that is open to all faiths, all cultures, all races. And what is it that you know, we talk about the platinum rule, which is treating others how they would like to be treated. So we're asking you, how would you like to be treated? What do you see as a way forward in this beloved community?
Thank you, Reverend Jay. Great question, and so happy to be here today. I actually grew up in New York, for those of you that don't hear my accent, and have been living with my wife in North Carolina now for 7 years. And I'm a child of the 60s, so I grew up in integration, lived in Brooklyn, New York as a child, and on Long Island in the suburbs, and now out here in a relatively rural environment. And I think what's worked for me is to have confidence. I have this thought that most people are good people, whatever that means. Most people just want to get through life and make a living without hurting themselves too badly, have a family to love, feel love, have a little fun on the weekends. That's about it. And if I keep that in mind as I'm speaking with people, then it goes much easier. As LuAnn was saying, I believe that was LuAnn a few moments ago, to remember that they're human beings. And as I relate to them that way, it makes it easier to overlook the details where we might err. A few years ago, a neighbor of ours came by our house. She showed up in the driveway, and I went outside, greeted her, and I asked what was up. And she said, well, she lost a horse and was wondering if it had wandered onto our property. I said no, but I would keep an eye out for it. I said, which house do you live in? And she said, the log cabin on the corner of the intersection of the two roads nearby. And I realized that was the house that has the Confederate flag flying from it all the time. So I'd already been doing some work about just not to have an emotional reaction every time I see that. A few weeks later, I'm coming home from the supermarket, wherever, and I'm driving down the hill and I see the woman and her son and a bunch of other people standing in the driveway. A thought came in my mind and I stopped the car, rolled down the window, and I said to her, "Hi, did you find your horse?" And to me, and she said no, but she thanked me and it felt genuine. And to get past my own fear, my own whatever stuff, and remember that that was just the woman who lost the horse. Worked. So when I'm having these conversations with my neighbors, whomever I might meet, I won't go into another long story about a fellow I met while I was having tires put on my car. But we got into a wonderful conversation. And I chose to ignore the pieces that we didn't agree on and focused on what we did agree on. Love of family. We happen to love perfection and well-crafted things. I believe genuinely that we are much, much more alike than we are different. And there are some places where the results of those differences create chaos in our worlds, and they need to be dealt with. But I caution myself to not focus on those differences. Everyone is an individual with a unique story, a unique path, a unique way of expressing into the world. And in the sitting in the presence of spirit as I go about my daily life, I can have the patience to let people be themselves and let the process of connecting with them move. So, does that answer your question?
It does. It does. Thank you so much. It just reminds me of the idea that sometimes we do need to call out people. We need to stand strong. But really what you were doing with the woman who lost her horse, and other times you're calling people in. And that creates a sense of unity and permission for us to care for each other rather than find differences. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. And thank you for your perspective today. So many blessings. So as we move forward, just touched by that story. I hope you were too, by David and his experience, and so many experiences like that are around us, that we, if we're open to it, if we're willing to dialogue, if we're willing to take the space and time it requires to have conversations like that, then it's going to have great benefits in moving towards and creating this beloved community that we are seeking, this world that works for everyone. Today, where I'm talking about one mind, infinite connections. And what I like about this topic is it is in our infinite connections with each other and with spirit that we have infinite possibilities. It was our founder, Ernest Holmes, who said, with this infinite mind, each individual exists. We are not separated from life, neither is it separated from us, but we are separate entities in it. Individualized centers of God consciousness. So this is this infinite connection that we can have with spirit at all times, but it's also the connections that are unlimited of possibilities with our connections with other people, with possibilities in our life. There's just infinite possibilities because of this infinite connection. Now, I'll be honest, much of 2020, I felt that infinite connection, but I didn't always sense infinite possibilities. When I'm preparing for a service or a class or an event, I do something called riding a wave, which means I vision, I imagine that event, and I imagine the different people and what might happen, and allowing spirit to be the energy that is the wave that moves me forward, knowing what is highest and best. And as we get together in groups of people to plan something, we all ride the wave together to know how it's going to unfold. And in 2020, I had the practice of doing this for many years, but in 2020, whenever I tried to do that, the wave wouldn't go out as far out as it used to. Just like if you're a surfer, I'm more of a body surfer, but there are waves that you wait for, and they seem like a good wave, but then they slow down, they lose their energy, and there wasn't much of a ride on that. And that's what happened in 2020 for me. It was like the ride would be good for, I could plan 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks out, but not much more than that. It was very frustrating because that's not how I usually do things, but it was what I had. And so I accepted what it was, something in the way that the world was. It was unpredictable. It was hard to know ahead of time. So everything was in pencil. And now, just as 2020, particularly coming in February, there are robust waves happening, and I'm able to ride it well into the summer and the fall. And that's what I'm used to. So while I know that we are still under certain restrictions as far as the COVID, and there's not any promises of any kind, the trends are in the right way, and more importantly, spirit within me is moving and grooving and connecting on a deeper level. So I am riding a wave, and people that we are gathering together to plan events, we're riding a bigger, more robust, more energetic wave. So I'm encouraged by that because I know it happens in spirit first. It is a hope I have beyond understanding, beyond the facts that are before me. But we won't ignore science. I'm not suggesting that at all. We'll continue to follow those guidelines, and we'll follow Spirit at the same time. Spring is showing itself here in Napa Valley. I'm sure if you've been around, you've seen the hills that are all around us that are green, the parks, the trees are blooming. Our spring gardens are robust and growing, and the blooms are happening. Our bulbs are up. It's just a great time to be in spring. And what I've also noticed metaphorically and realistically, people are peeking their heads out of their doors and wondering if it's time, almost like Groundhog Day, to see if they see their shadow, to see if not the shadow of winter is finished, but the shadow of COVID is finished. And there's still time to be cautious, to wash our hands, to wear masks, to be socially distant. At the same time, it's a good time to begin to imagine a life beyond this, to vision for it, to allow it to emerge. So one thing we want to do for you is to provide a daily affirmation that lasts for 40 days. It begins on Tuesday, the 23rd, and we're going to email it out to you. And it's called To Emerge Stronger, Brighter, and Wiser, because the affirmations, the daily practices, are meant to guide you towards not just surviving, but thriving and emerge stronger and brighter, more vibrant, more able to handle things, and wiser. And so I encourage you to do that. If you get a regular newsletter, you're already on the list to get it. You'll get it in chunks of 8 days at a time. But if you'd like it on a daily basis, or you're not in our newsletter, please go on our website and sign up for these 40 days, and then you'll get them on a daily basis or in the group email, either way that you want it. But I encourage you to be a part of it, because it's really a powerful way to bring it forth. And then it's going to be in the day before Easter in April. And Easter, the theme of it is to emerge stronger, brighter, and wiser. You're going to hear that more and more. The other exciting thing that's happening this week, was the Centers for Spiritual Living. The entire international denomination had their convention. It was virtual, and that actually was really wonderful this time. It was the perfect time to have a virtual convention. And there were so many talks and workshops that inspired me, gave me tools and information, things to ponder. But above all, it affirmed that what we're doing at this center is the right and perfect path. That Spirit is involving in the Centers for Spiritual Living, and it's involving in us in very similar ways. I'll tell you, I had a little concern about it coming into it because we've done so much in isolation here. I've consulted with other ministers, but I felt distant from the denomination and from other things going on. But the truth is, we are right with them. The work that we've done with production now, in a couple of weeks, it'll have been a year of this that we've been doing this. It's been like 50 Sundays we've already done virtually, and we're doing good. There's little hiccups here and there, but overall we're getting it out, and it's good. We keep refining things that we're doing, and what I hear from other centers, the same thing has happened for them. The other part of it that has run parallel to our denomination, to Centers for Spiritual Living, is our emphasis on diversity. The truth is, diversity matters, and it's been emphasized during the whole convention. It was weaved in and out of there. That the idea to bring women and people of color to the table of power, which means white men in particular need to step aside, and sometimes white women too need to step aside, so people of color can have their voices heard, to create room. There's to leave space for voices that in the past have been suppressed. Think of it as a dinner table that the only thing you have on the table is white food, white rice, white bread, white potatoes, a bland meal. You know, you could add white salt because it's white, but think of all the spices and all the grains and the meats and the vegetables we're missing out on. This is the table of diversity that we want, because it's more than just appearances. It is more enriching, more enlivening, more vibrant to have a table of diversity, an environment of biodiversity, and a world of human diversity. And our denomination has become spicier, so to speak. We had 9 leaders elected in the last conference, just this past week. And out of the 9 people that we just elected, 7 were women, 7 were of color, including 2 Latinx and 5 Black men and women, mostly women though, and also the GLBTQ community was represented as well. Our new field leader, now the field leader is a position you might not know much about. It is a person who has direct contact with the centers, who serves centers, who checks in on them. And there's regional representatives that work with our field representative, our field leader. Her name is Sunday Cote. And although she is a white person, she has led our movement in establishing anti-racism study groups for ministers, practitioners, and lay members. Several hundred people have been a part of these study groups that she's had. And the last convention a year ago, the Centers for Spiritual Living, I had a long conversation with her, and she coached me on how to bring more diversity, how to do these study groups, and we were able to do them. And here at this center, we had 25, 30 people involved in these study groups earlier in 2020. And that we are continuing also to add people of color and women to places of leadership on our board, in our production crew, in our musicians, and in all aspects of our speaking from the pulpit, because we want to have this enriched experience. Our spirituality is enriched because of this diversity. It's also we just had a board retreat last week or 2 weeks ago, and part of the strategic planning is for inclusivity, to include diversity in our leadership, to support the Spanish-speaking ministry that Imelda is starting. Well, she's already been doing it. She's already been teaching classes for a couple of years now, but she's adding the services. So we want to continue to support that. And also we're starting a new committee called the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. So that's all part of what we're doing. And to open up to the centers and how we are running parallel in this. What I also love about our movement is the expansion that is happening right now in our movement. We are financially healthy, and Edward Villoon, who is the senior minister at the Santa Rosa Center for Spiritual Living, but also is our president of the whole movement, spoke, of course, as part of his role at the convention. But he shared a video with you that I want to share with you today about our expansion, that I just really enjoyed how the diversity, not only racially, but culturally, is expanding. So here is the video that he shared with us.
I can imagine.
我可以想象
Je peux imaginer un monde.
I can imagine.
Puedo imaginarme.
Ik zie een wereld vormen.
Где мы живем, как одна глобальная семья.
Ambapo tunaishi kama familia moja ya ulimwengu.
Donde hay paz, armonía y justicia.
Я бачу світ, де ми живемо відповідно до духовної правди.
I see a world where we live according to spiritual truth.
Where we value nature and creativity.
Donde sentimos el llamado hacia la acción social consciente.
Wo wir zu bewusstem sozialem Handeln aufgerufen sind.
Donde somos llamados conscientemente a la acción social.
Waarin wij allemaal geroepen worden tot sociale bewuste actie.
Де ми покликані до свідомої соціальної дії.
ambapo tunaitwa kuchukua hatua za kijamii.
Donde la vida es honorada como la divinidad.
Where humanity awakens to its spiritual magnificence.
Où l'humanité s'éveille à sa magnificence spirituelle.
在这个世界，你爱我，我善待你。
Where people have enough food.
Où les gens ont suffisamment à manger.
Wo die Menschen genug zum Essen haben.
Donde la gente tiene suficientes alimentos.
And I am not the only one.
Na sio mimi tu.
Und ich bin nicht die Einzige.
And I am not the only one.
And I'm not the only one.
So you can see why I love that video so much, is the different languages and cultures represented, this diversity that I'm talking about. So it's great to see our denomination Centers for Spiritual Living, our movement, our philosophy, if you want to call it, spreading out into the world. And what I know is that it is spreading out almost like a pandemic, quietly and subtly in all walks of life. And we have partnerships with people that believe in the same philosophy. It doesn't have to go underneath our name. It is becoming the truth that many people live their lives, this spiritual life that opens up the both other new thought centers, unity, divine thought, independent new thought, progressive churches, like the Episcopal Church that Reverend Michael Curry is part of, people that are part of the liberation theology that I'll talk more about, and just this thing that we're doing together, this unity, this transformation that we are opening up to in this way. And as this whole idea, the other thing the Centers for Spiritual Living doing that is amazing is that we are able to see this thing called the beloved community that Dr. King had a vision for. And it's the same vision that we have, that a world that works for everyone. Yesterday, there was a celebration of Black History Month that was done virtually. And there was this sign, Sean, if you want to show this sign up here, that was part of this movement. And it's interesting that I think that when we talk about emerging stronger, wiser, and brighter, this same thing reflects in this sign. Napa strong enough to stand up to racism, homophobia, sexism, xenophobia, ableism, and transphobia. So this is this idea that we are really, this is one. And I love this video by Alex Alex Brown was part of our MLK videos that we were doing, interviews, as well as the event yesterday. They had the ideas from this, actually, from our MLK day we did. So, and I just love this video where Alex is talking about creating this beloved community here in Napa Valley.
Start listening to some of those Black people and people of color in your community. Listen to the indigenous voices. Listen to the Latinx people. Like, listen to queer people, the disabled. I mean, we're all speaking.
Right.
We just, we don't need to be given a voice. Just get off the platform and let us get on there. We can share this platform. We don't need to be on a pedestal. We don't need anybody speaking for us, but we do need to be able to speak and be heard and be listened to. I talk about this because I know we're capable of it. Like I've seen the history. We are capable of having, an active, thriving Black community, and Latinx community, and Chinese and Asian American, and we're capable of doing this. We've done it before. Like, maybe some white people weren't great at it, but like we've done it. We've been there before, and there's no reason we can't do that again and do it better and do the, but there's a lot of work to do. I mean, there's a lot of anti-Blackness and anti-racist work that needs to be done, not just on white people. There are some of us in the Black community that kind of have taken, it's in the air, it's in the water. It's hard to get out of it, especially if you've grown up in that area, in a predominantly white area like Napa. We've got to spend, I had to spend, a good chunk of my life taking apart all of that stuff that got ingrained into me. Like, we all have to do that work. And we have to start listening.
This idea that we have work to do, that we're taking off layers of this so we can create this beloved community. And I will let you know, this is not a done deal. There is still a lot of work to do. As part of this Black History Month celebration that happened yesterday, was a panel of teens and young adults that have gone through schools here in Napa, and they're saying there's a lot of racism in our schools towards Black people, and towards other people of color as well. And so there is work to be done. I know that in Georgia, there is a movement after the election to suppress Black voters there in Georgia after the election, because they're concerned about Black voters having too much power in that state. They're trying to, and so we need to do what we can to stop that. And we know the Capitol riots had at least some of the people that attacked the Capitol that day were white supremacists. So we definitely still have work to do, but the work, first of all, begins with us, because we know, as Lao Tzu said, if we want to awaken all of humanity, we awaken all of ourselves first. We awaken all of ourselves first. So we do our work that we do, and then we step out into the world, and we know that we have partnerships with, like I said, with progressive churches, with people in New Thought, with people, other organizations that we continue to open up to in a greater way. And as we move forward, I'm not just because Black History Month ends in a couple of weeks, I'm going to continue to be this voice and allow the voices of people of color to come in so we can continue to create this beloved community together. Next week, the speaker, you're going to have a lot of fun with him. He's from the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. His name is LuAnn Baker, and you're going to really enjoy him speaking next week. I'll be here as well to introduce him, but you'll have fun with him. And I encourage us to be part of these 40 days of spiritual guide that we're part of. I know it takes 40 days to establish new patterns. So we want to have new establishings, a pattern of seeing the world perhaps in a pessimistic way. This past week, I injured my thumb. It was actually an unfortunate accident while I was cutting some flooring for my stepson Taylor's trailer, and the razor blade slipped off the straight edge I was using, and my thumb didn't slow down the razor blade very much at all. So I nicked off the tip of my thumb, and it's healing. I'm not a problem, but I've had to redo the way I do things because we use this opposable thumb so much, and even if it's my left hand. So this is the patterns of what we need to break also. that we need to establish new ways of doing things, especially since we've been contained in varying degrees during this pandemic. And we need to choose to open up to a greater way to emerge stronger, brighter, and wiser. And I just open us up to this moment that we have to be in harmony with life as it is. And we celebrate this truth. We celebrate this life in all ways. So I'm just going to end in this moment with some prayer. What I know in this moment is God is all there is. And that is all we need to know in any moment. That we set aside our doubts, our negativity, our fears, so we can allow Spirit to reveal in us the highest and best in any moment, can emerge through us brighter, stronger, and wiser. Just so grateful for this coming forth in our lives of Spirit as we are willing to allow Spirit so it becomes our experience. We allow ourselves to dream so that we too can become this magnificent full expression of the divine. And for this, we are so, so grateful. And so it is. And now we have a special video by David that's talking about the celebration of life. How fun, David. Thank you. Thank you so much. Just a celebration of life today. So fun. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So this is also our time to celebrate our divine abundance. We appreciate all the gifts you've given us through just the prayers you offer for us, the good thoughts, the blessings that you send us each week, as well as the time and talents and financial contributions you give to us. And we always like to take them and represent them in a sharing of abundance plate and just lift it up and with us affirm that what you've given us continues to bless you by simply saying, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate, and so it is. And for all those children and teenagers that are starting back to school, we just bless you, knowing that you are safe and secure right where you are and as you head out into the world. So we lift our hands and we say, we love you, we care about you, and we're here for you. And our final affirmation that we like to repeat, if you'll repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. I am led by Spirit. I am guided by wisdom. I am protected by love. I am here to be a blessing. I am so grateful. And so it is. And here's David for our final song.
Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. There be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love, let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world now.
So join us for Zoom to talk about how we can emerge stronger, brighter, and wiser. And as we go forward, we know Spirit is present within us and revealing to us how we can do that. So we're open, affirmative, and we create this new. And so it is. Have a blessed day. We'll be on Zoom in just a minute.